Hi everyone, my name's Scott. Welcome to Planes, Trains, Everything, and welcome to Glasgow Airport. Today I'm doing something rather foolish. I'm doing a day trip to Malaga. Why? Because I can, but I've given myself a challenge. There are 3 things I need to do. The number 1 challenge is to have calamari for lunch, maybe washed down by a beer. That's the number 1 challenge. The other 2 I'll tell you once we arrive. I'm flying on Ryanair this morning to Malaga, coming back tonight on EasyJet. I've got around about 8.5 hours from the time we arrive at the airport to the time we leave again. If you take off an hour for security, if you take off half an hour for transport, I've got probably 5.5 to 6 hours. That's enough time to do all 3. What could possibly go wrong? Anyway, both of these flights are actually chock-a-block, and I went for random seat selection, and somehow I still managed to get window seats. I don't know how that works, but I am looking forward to this trip. Last year, in fact, I went to Barcelona and the challenge was to find paella for lunch, and that was an overwhelming success. So hopefully it's the same success today when you and I go to Malaga. Right, let's get airside. I'll see you when we get to Malaga Airport.
That your seatbelt.
And here we are at Malaga. The clock is now ticking. I've got 6.5 hours and I have to be back here landside. And I don't want to get stranded here in Malaga. In all fairness, there are worse places you could be stranded, but I need to be on that EasyJet flight tonight. 6.5 hours. Right, where's passport control? And where's the railway station? Why is it I always seem to join the slowest line? It's the same in supermarkets. That guy in front of me in the passport desk there was serving 1 person for every 2 people in the adjacent line. I don't know what was going on, but boy, he was slow. Right, train station. I just met a couple of subscribers here on the platform and they shared my views on how disorganized it is up there. They have a line of ticket machines. What they could do with is a sign, a multilingual sign saying, oh, by the way, you can tap on and tap off with your credit card. That would be useful, but where's the challenge in that? And also in the concourse area, there's nothing to indicate whether it's this platform or that platform or the city centre. You've got to make it up as you go along. But anyway, there's a train due in 4 minutes. I'll see you when we're in Malaga. And here we are in Malaga city centre. I have got a printed map based on information from Google, mind you, and it's what I'm calling the calamari cluster. There's a whole cluster of restaurants that do calamari. I just have to work out whether it's that way or that way. I'll find it. I must say this is feeling a lot more rushed than the one I did last year to Barcelona for paella. I've got 5.5 hours and I really must be landside at the airport. 5.5 hours, plenty of time, but I just feel as if the clock's really ticking. Every time there's a delay, for example, I get a red light, I can't cross a road, there's a delay. Up here and to the left for the calamari cluster. Of course, my big fear about this challenge is the fact it is 2 p.m. and I don't know how busy these restaurants get. I don't know if the locals will be eating this early, but all the tourists probably will. Hey, there's a Burger King. There's a Plan Z. I won't go hungry, that's for sure. Right, the calamari cluster is right up there somewhere. We can do this. I can feel success. I can also feel that first drink going down my throat. I'm absolutely parched. Apparently the pilot said that forecast 27 degrees Celsius, which is rather pleasant, isn't it? I went back to check their menu. No calamari. Indian and Mexican, that won't do, but here's another one. I told you it was a real cluster. No calamari there. How about this place? And that is a resounding nope, no calamari. Come on. Right, there's a few more places coming up. Pizzas, a steak restaurant. I'm not doing well here, am I? That's Japanese. Is that what I'm looking for? Not sure. Apart from that grilled squid, which doesn't sound like calamari to me, nowhere seems to sell it. And I've probably checked maybe 14, 15, 16 places. Randomly, they don't touch it. So I'm going to have to go into Google and do a more in-depth search of the area. And he finally finds a place. Thank you, Google. Thank you, Google. I have to watch out. There's a guy there playing the saxophone and I don't want to fall foul of Google copyright, you know. Cheers. Oh, that was hard work, but it was worth it. So, was that worth getting up at 5 AM for? Most definitely, oh yes. Although I did feel a little bit rushed because as soon as I sat down and before I even had a chance to put that first ring of calamari in my gob, a queue started to form. It's busy, so I just felt a little bit rushed. That doesn't mean I can't have a second beer later, but now I'm off to somewhere about a kilometre and a half north of the city centre. This is the second thing I need to find. I'll tell you a story about calamari. Back in the 1980s, I was living in Sydney, and calamari was actually quite common. That's where I developed a taste and a like for it. Fast forward a decade, and I'm back here in Blighty. This is Malaga, but you know what I mean. I ended up in Blighty. And there was a travel industry night out. It might have been sponsored by KLM, possibly. And it was quite a formal setting. We had plate company around us. And I saw a bowl of calamari and I thought, oh, KLM, I love you. So I stabbed one with a fork, shoved it in my mouth, only to discover it was actually an onion ring. Now, I don't mind onion as long as it's chopped up finely, maybe put in a bolognese sauce, something like that. But actual big chunky bits of onion, no, I do not like them whatsoever. So you can imagine my shock when I actually realized that was not calamari I had in my mouth. It's not as if you can just kind of go and spit it out. That was 30 years ago and I still go on about it, so obviously it traumatized me. Always watch out, it's not always calamari, it could be onion rings. Who possessed someone to put rings of onion in breadcrumbs? I mean, honestly. Okay, it's 3 PM, 4.5 hours before I need to be airside at Malaga Airport. Still plenty of time to complete the next two things I need to do. task number 2 is to come to the beach. Okay, I've been to the beach before, but when you come to the Mediterranean shore, you've got to experience the beach just even for 5 minutes. We're heading up to Playa de la Malagueta. That's not how you pronounce it in Spanish, and it's just up here. I just wanted to have a look at the beach here. Quite lovely.
€1. Hombre, tiene una enfermedad muy...
To be honest, it's not as sunny as I thought it was going to be. There is a high cloud, and so far I haven't had to bring my hat out or my sunglasses. Still enjoying the temperature though. I saw back there outside a pharmacy 21 Celsius, not quite the 27 that the pilot promised us, but hey, it still is only just gone 3 o'clock, so it might still get warmer. Right, one last look at this beach, and then I'm off to challenge number 3, which is a good one. And the next thing on my to-do list, empanadas. They're kind of baked or fried turnover, and they consist of a pastry and a filling. And I have a cunning plan as to where to find some. Okay, my cunning plan is to head for the Mercado Central de Atarazanas. And that is not how you pronounce that in Spanish, I can assure you. That's basically the central market. And I've been there before, and there's loads of food, and I'm pretty sure you can get empanadas there. I knew my cunning plan would work. As soon as I mentioned the fact there was no sun, the sun came out. Now I've got the old shades on. Yeah, the central market. It's down here a bit and then to the right. I saw it actually when I was looking down a side street looking for calamari, and I thought, aha, there's the market. But I'm not going to mention it to you yet. Yeah, so I'm taking my foot off the pedal now because I've still got about 3 3/4 hours before I need to be at the airport at the latest to enter the building and go through security. So plenty of time now, just relaxing, enjoying the sun here and looking for empanadas. And here we are at the market. Right, shades off into stealth mode. Well, I don't think this is going according to plan. The place is dead. I thought it would have been open, but no. There's a couple of vendors open, but 95% of the places are shut. 4 PM must be too late for a market. I thought it would have been open until 5 or 6. Obviously not. Right, where am I going to get my empanadas from? Well, that definitely did not go according to plan. Yeah, they're either closed or they are closing up and just cleaning up. So it must be either 4 o'clock or a 3 o'clock finish. Oh well. Right, where do I get empanadas from? And just for clarification, it's empanadas which can be taken away, not sitting down in a restaurant and eating them. I want to take them away with me. Tell you what, this is the old centre of Malaga, and it's pretty quiet. Well, my hunt for empanadas is actually a bit of a disaster. Everywhere I've looked, they don't do them. I've gone into bakery shops, different kind of cafes and things. Absolutely nothing. Do they not do them here in Malaga? I mean, I wonder what's going on. I think my quest to find empanadas has failed. I did find a bar though, which is open, and I had a drink or two, actually two. That helped kill the best part of an hour. But there's no shops open in the city centre. I might still find some at the airport, but nothing here. So I'm going to head back to the station now. I'm going to head back to the airport. I'm probably about an hour earlier than I had planned, but there's absolutely nothing happening here. And here we are at Malaga Airport, the best part of an hour earlier than I had hoped, but then these things happen. This flight tonight from Malaga to Glasgow is a special one for me because on board I will chalk up my 1/2 millionth air mile. Sadly, I've been keeping a record of every flight that I've ever done since day one. The first flight was Sydney to Singapore on Singapore Airlines. I haven't kept a record of the dates, but I have kept a record of the sectors, the airlines, the miles. And apart from chalking up 500,000 miles, which is something like 24 journeys around the world, there's been 42 different airlines through 130 different airports. Some people would maybe do 500,000 miles in a year if they're frequent travellers. I'm not a frequent traveller. But yeah, it's a special flight tonight. Let's get inside. So, will I find empanadas airside? Let's find out. Well, I've checked everywhere and there is not a single empanada to be found. I've got a feeling that the Spanish government may have banned their manufacturing, distribution and sale now. It might be illegal. You just cannot find them here in Malaga. I was just checking the Malaga airport website for departure information. My flight's been delayed 20 minutes. And here we are back at Glasgow. It is approximately, in fact it's exactly 12:35 in the morning. Wow, I am tired. That was a long day. Was it worth it for calamari? You bet. But it was so hard finding calamari. I reckon I might have checked maybe up to about 20 different restaurants in that area. Most of them seem to do seafood. None of them seem to do calamari. I don't know what the problem was, but I'm glad I found a place eventually. I was also a bit disappointed about the empanadas, you know. I thought, you know, I must be able to find them somewhere. I looked in little bakery shops, I looked in cafes. No one seemed to do them at all. Overall, I was calculating, I've been travelling for 7 hours there and back, just for 7.5 hours in Malaga. Was it worth it? I think it was actually, but I am looking forward to my bed tonight, that's for sure. Thanks very much for coming along, guys, and I'll see you next time.